Well, Samuel Francis Smith got around because they also claim him at the First Baptist Church in Newton. He was there too. Well, anyway, and we'll see later that the author of America the Beautiful is a Wellesley girl. So you came to the right place. So once again, the scripture this morning, James, is from the Song of Solomon. I think I went my whole life and never heard a sermon from the Song of Solomon growing up. And here's the scripture that Cindy read. We'll read it again. The voice of my beloved, look, he comes. So notice, it's a woman speaking. It's a female voice. Look, he comes. Leaping upon the mountains, bounding over the hills, my beloved is like a gazelle or a young stag. Look, there he stands behind our wall, gazing in at the windows, looking through the lattice. My beloved speaks and says to me, arise, my love, my fair one, and come away. For the winter is past, the rain is over, the flowers appear. It's the time for singing. That's from the Song of Songs. Here is the first verse of the Song of Songs. And again, think about the Bible and all those books that begin in the days of King so-and-so. How about this? Let him kiss me. That's how the Song of Songs starts. The Song of Solomon. Let him kiss me with the kisses of his mouth, for his love is better than wine. That's in the Bible. And then verse 5, that she responds and she says, I am black and beautiful. There it is in Song of Solomon 1:5. I am black and beautiful. Did you ever hear a love song and think you could sing that in church? Yes. You are the sunshine of my life. Or if you're from a different generation, you are my sunshine. And you think, wow, if you just change the addressee, you could sing that in church. The first time in history we know that happened was with the Song of Solomon, because the Song of Solomon is a love song that was pulled into worship because it was thought that not only does it celebrate human love, but it celebrates the love between God and the human soul. I knew my sons were going to be here today, so I'm going to make some obscure references to rock and roll. Pete Townsend, who's a rock and roll musician, once had a song entitled, Let My Love Open the Door. And a reporter asked him if he minded that a Christian radio station was playing his rock song, Let My Love Open the Door. And Pete Townsend said, no, of course not. All my songs are about God. All love songs are about God. That's what the Song of Solomon is saying. The Song of Solomon is like nothing else in the Bible. The Song of Solomon is a love song that has been understood by Jews and Christians through the ages as describing the love between God and all creation. My rabbi friend Art Green put it this way: the song is incredible because it combines blatant sexuality and total innocence. Just listen to these lines from the Song of Solomon. You see, and sometimes there's a male voice in the song, and then sometimes there's a female voice. They sing to each other. How graceful are your feet in your sandals, O nobleman's daughter. The gold of your thigh was shaped by a master craftsman. Your navel is the moon's bright drinking cup. May it brim with wine. Your belly is a mound of wheat edged with lilies. Your breasts are two fawns, twins of a gazelle. That's in the Bible. Here's from Song of Solomon chapter 4. Awake, north wind, O south wind, come. Breathe upon my garden. Let its spices stream out. Let my lover come into his garden and taste its delicious fruit. Aren't you getting a little embarrassed? Reading this text from a couple of thousand years ago reminds us that it's really true. It started long ago in the Garden of Eden. We didn't invent that smile. We didn't invent that trick we can do where we dilate our eyes real wide and pull back the shades of our eyelids and declare, open for business. Jeepers, creepers, where'd you get those peepers? We didn't invent any of this. We didn't invent the sizzle or the nuzzle. The buzz and the fizz and the bounce and the juice and all that jazz. L-O-V-E. The feeling for which the whippers will, for which the porcuse pine. And sometimes I think that this strange book in the Bible that is rarely read, and it's very short, and you could pass over it easily, that it holds the key to unlocking the entire cathedral of Scripture. Because if you try to go into the front door of the Bible, there's this huge pearly gate, and it's guarded by angels, and inscribed above the front gate of the Bible are these words: fear of the Lord. But the Song of Solomon tells us that if you just sneak around the back, there's a kitchen door. And it has a little hand-sewn sampler above it, which says love. Come on in. But what does all this love poetry, with all its talk about navels and thighs and bellies, have to do with God? Well, that's a tough question. So I consulted a theologian, the Right Reverend Bob Marley. And he said, one love, one heart. There's just one love. And the funny thing is that's the same thing Moses said. Moses said, "Hear, O Israel, the Lord your God is one. And you shall love the Lord, your God, with all your heart, with all yourself, with all your mass." It's all one. Love. I read about this scientist who had a theory. The scientist's theory was that there was a force in the universe that binds everything together. This force binds proton to electron, moon to globe, and solar to system. It's a kind of cosmic gravity that keeps the universe from just flying apart. And the scientists called this force connectivity. Connectivity hits every note in the scale of life, but we have a lot of different words for it. Connectivity between peers, we call friendship. Connectivity between mother and child, we call maternal love. Connectivity that involves personal parts of our bodies, we call eros, erotic love. Connectivity between our bodies and food, we call hunger. Just yesterday, I wanted to say this to you guys because they were playing at a basketball tournament yesterday. They're always playing basketball. There is a kind of connectivity that makes us want to compete and makes us want to try our best and makes us want to throw our bodies against somebody else. We're actually longing to connect with people that way. That's a kind of love too. And when you see old boxers embrace, guys that once tried to just knock each other's brains out, and you realize that is a crazy masculine form of love. There are so many words for love, and it's all about this connectivity, this part of us that wants to be together. A yearning and a pulling and a longing at the heart of everything for wholeness and harmony and union. And finally, the word we have for that connectivity that is behind everything, that's God. So, we're talking about the Song of Solomon, and I want to warn you, right now I'm going to do a little bit of Bible professor business. Two things about the Song of Solomon stand out to me. First is the mutuality of the relationship between the male and the female in the Song of Solomon. You know, the Bible is not exactly modeling a modern relationship between the genders. Have you ever noticed that? The Song of Solomon is not like that. In the Song of Solomon, the woman has more lines than the man. In the Song of Solomon, the relationship is totally equal. The Song of Solomon is about a space that has always existed between men and women, that is not governed by custom, it's not governed by convention, it's not governed by law, it's governed by mutual need and longing. So that's one of the incredible things about the Song of Solomon. It describes not a pyramid, but a circle of mutuality. There's no one at the apex, there's no one at the base in the Song of Solomon. And this is 2,000 years ago. Another incredible thing about the Song of Solomon is the way that the male and the female in the song move back and forth. There is a back and forth and a to and fro and an ebb and flow in these characters. One will say, "Come away with me," and you'll see one lover come toward the other, and then just as they get ready to kiss, one will disappear. The Song of Solomon describes a relationship where they're constantly playing hide and seek, where they constantly move toward each other and then move away from each other. There is a movement, a dance, a two-step of love they do with each other. They meet and part, and then they part and meet. One hunger to belong pulls us close, and then once that hunger is satisfied, another hunger to be ourselves pushes us off. And then when that hunger is satisfied, the hunger kicks in to be close. And when that is satisfied, the hunger kicks in to be ourselves. The loop of love. And there it is in the Song of Solomon. I have a brother who's a physicist, Joel. My brother Joel. Are you listening there? Yeah. So a couple of weeks ago, I was with my family, and Joel told me how beneath everything, once you get to the cells and the atoms and the quarks, the basic shape in reality is a circle, a sphere. Did you know that? Did you realize that? That underneath everything, the world is made out of little spherical balls. It's as if the ancient poet in the Song of Solomon knew what no one else seemed to know in his world. The world is not square. Because the way the Song of Solomon describes these two people interacting is a circle. It's a circle of mutuality, and it's a circle of moving in and moving out, and moving in and moving out. You know, they don't have microscopes powerful enough to see the things that my brother Joel studies. Instead, what they have are incredible machines that stir the basic batter of life to a speed faster than you can imagine. And when you whip it up, when you whip up the batter of life, you see that its smallest parts are little spherical balls. How sweet it is. The universe is made up of dipping dots. You don't know what dipping dots are? It's a funny little kind of ice cream you can get at fairs and carnivals and amusement parks. It's just... What could this mean to us? One thing it means is you can't draw lines with love. You got to move in circles. You can't draw lines with love. I recently heard some wisdom from someone who had been in a 12-step program. He said, you've got two choices with people. You can either love them or you can control them. Take your pick. You can love them or you can control them. You can draw lines or you can move in circles. And then there's another thing that this truth about the circular nature of love means for us. It helps us live with hope. Because sometimes love recedes from our lives. It's just ebb tide. That's all. Ride the wave of love. Don't assume that ebb is absence, because love is a movement to and fro. That's what I was talking about this. You understand that? Where is the love, you might say sometimes? Just keep following the arc. Keep following the rainbow. It's a dance. It's a sway. It's a waltz. But what happens when our parent, our partner, is separated from us? This teaching says that the circle of love won't be unbroken. Think about a lifelong love between a wife and a husband, between a parent and child, between sister and brother, between lifelong friends. You've experienced its summers of closeness. You've experienced its winters of isolation. You know its joys and sorrows, but then there is death. Our hope is that death is just one more step in the dance, but not its last. And just as right now we have separated, on some glad morning, we will be reunited. I know I'm saying all this stuff about love this morning. It makes me a little embarrassed, because I'm a professor of Bible. I'm not a professor of love. I'm no expert. I'm not the heavyweight champion of the world in love. I am not undefeated. In love, I have been knocked down. I have been bruised and battered. But in this clearing stands a boxer and a fighter by his trade. And I'm going to get off the mat to try again. Are you? So it's the 4th of July weekend, and I'm issuing a new Declaration of Independence. A Declaration of Independence from the tyranny of anything other than love. And if this sermon is successful, you will want to plant a holy kiss on some creature. So, Knights of the Round Table, join me in the banquet hall for our communion feast under the banner of love. And even though the Lord's Supper has been celebrated for centuries and across continents, it is still and always dinner for two. And as you come forward when we take the Lord's Supper today, I want you to meet your lover, your first lover, your last lover, God, who offers us this bread and juice this morning. Come and receive and give love at this table.